It is 4:30 a.m. and we're in the car. We're going to one of these, my second Kroger raffle. Now, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. Honestly, I thought this would make a hilarious video if I win anything. I don't think any bottle is really worth it. I feel like really sleep deprived. Actually, it reminds me of when I was a little kid. My mom had this really Dickensian job of she'd get up at 2 a.m. in the morning to deliver newspapers. And that's how I feel right now, super sleep deprived. But yeah, the way it works is I think they try to, as much as possible, do this thing randomly so people don't have to try to run or shove or push people out of the way. You get 500 raffle tickets, 500 wristbands, and from the looks of it, there are 40 rare unicorns, like a King Kentucky and the Pappy and stuff like that. So the first 500 people. Oh, here's the thing. They start giving out wristbands at 5 a.m. And then before that, you can't form a line. I think there's police. So what people do is people just wait in their car. And then at 5 a.m., people kind of spring out of the car and fast walk over there to the line. So 500 people first 500 people get the wristbands, okay? They draw 40 winners for the unicorn, for the chance to buy the unicorn stuff. If you actually get something crazy like a Eagle double rare, I've actually seen this. They actually have a security guard, like a police, escort you back to the car, which is interesting in itself. So the 40 numbers are called, but then there are still other bottles. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like Weller Green or just Weller Antiques, that type of stuff. Maybe Eagle Rares. Those bottles are still still left for purchase. So the last number they draw, let's say they draw the last number they call is 60. So then people need to line up from number 61 on up. So hypothetically, if you think you have a low number and you're like, oh wow, I'm definitely gonna buy something, I'm gonna be one of the first people in the store. Well, the last number could be 450. So the first person in line would be 451. Up to 500, I assume, and then they start again. So, kind of a weirdo system. I wasn't didn't 100% understand it last time. Now I fully understand it. So for my little crude math, what I understand is we have 3 people in our group: me, my wife, and my buddy Alex, who I'm meeting over there right now. Any single person has, I think, 8% chance of hitting a unicorn. And if you add us up all together as a group, I think like a 22% chance, something along those lines, of being able to score a unicorn. Last time, I did not get anything in the lottery. However, I made my way to the party source, and I was able to score a Woodford double oaked and a chartreuse. So let's see what happens today. All right, here we go. What a shit show. What a shit show. I'm sorry. I'm a little bitter. I don't have a wristband. Even though, so we have 2 wristbands here. Berta got one. Alex got one. Although, if anybody deserves it, he drove from Chicago. So could you imagine if you're not getting one? So it was a cluster, man. This year was a little, or not the year or whatever, this event was a little problematic because technically, according to the rules, you're not supposed to line up before 5 a.m., right? So I thought everybody's going to be in their car in the parking lot. We got there, crazy amount of cars. But the problem is, when we were parking the car, we saw just a giant pile of people. They're like, oh, okay, well, better get in there, right? So we parked our car real quick. We walked over, and there was just the huge crowd, right? And the thing is, I thought about it because eventually I thought like, well, they're going to have to make a line at some point, and everybody's going to go to the side of the Kroger. So I'm trying to prevent that, or not prevent. What do you call it? Like, think of that in advance. So we went to the side on the side of the Kroger and got in line, right? And then it was just never moving. And then they just started giving out to people just randomly in the crowd. And then people were getting antsy. Some people were leaving. There's other people coming by to the line and saying, hey guys, there's another line, it's moving faster, just whatever. And then some people are like, wait, it's a trick. No, we shouldn't do it. It was like psychological games, Anyway, so eventually Berta got a little antsy and said that, hey, there's another line that's actually moving quicker. So I got out of that line and went to the front of the Kroger, right? But that line, they stopped giving away tickets, or they ran out of tickets. It's such a good thing that Alex, like, you got there at like 3 a.m. or something, and you slept in your car for a little bit. It's such a good thing that you're just stood like at the closest point possible, because I would have felt badly if you were trying to meet up with us or whatever. But yeah, anyway, so that line, the one that were in the front of Kroger, just got broken up. There was just a huge crowd of people. There was this cop car in the front, and people were sneaking behind the cop car and then getting a wristband. And I was like, well, I'm an upstanding citizen. I shouldn't have. You know what? I'm just gonna. Why not, dude? I don't have a wristband. So we went pat like around the car, and then I heard somebody yelling like, "Back up! No, don't you dare!" Whatever. I was like, all right. People just laughed, and then I went to the side, tried to get in line. I forgot what happened, but basically Berta, she came back with a wristband. She magically got one. You got one. And then I just gave up on the whole line situation. I was just in the center. That's when they were yelling at people to back up, and then finally just saying there's no more wristbands. The saddest part is you see that there's still a giant line out there on the side of the Kroger. And I was asking people, like, what's going on? Why are they waiting for it? And then some people were saying that they magically believe that there's still wristbands out there. So
got here around 3, and the 4 rows of parking lot were already completely filled, and I was like, wow, this is pretty crazy. But I got here around 3, and so I slept about an hour. I couldn't sleep really well because people were loud, man. It's like they for some reason a crowd just decided to congregate right next to my car and just talk, and I was like, yeah, okay. But anyways, around 4:45, I was actually gonna wait until 5. I was like, I don't want to be, I don't want to get yelled at or anything. I'm going to wait. But I noticed the crowd starting to get bigger, and I noticed that, the police or the Kroger staff weren't really doing anything, because they could have told the crowd, start a line over here, or they could have told the crowd to go back to your cars or go back to the parking lot or whatever. But what happened was you started having a group of people just kind of congregate as close to the entrance as possible without getting yelled at. And so in my past life, I've had a lot of crowd line experience.
Oh, you're bouncing or something?
No, the other way, where I'm trying to get in, right? And it's just about being as close to the door as possible. So it's like I just kind of put myself. I wasn't in the first row. I was kind of in the second or third row, and then all of a sudden there was a stampede, and I got pushed through to the front. And even being pushed to the front, I still had to wait 20 minutes to get through. But at least I knew I was going to get a ban, so I didn't really care. So. Yeah.
I'm just surprised that they just start randomly giving out the wristbands without a proper line and kind of encouraging like a mob thing. So I'm surprised that nobody got trampled or something.
But the ad did say no line was going to be formed until 5 a.m. So
they couldn't tell somebody to form a proper line.
Right.
So we'll just give it to the mob.
Yeah. They actually I think the easiest solution to this is, it's like, how much do these bands really cost, right? So it's like I think they just thought there weren't going to be 500 people in the morning, but they should have just brought 2,000 wristbands, so that no matter how long it takes, everybody gets a wristband and nobody feels bad, Oh
yeah, that makes sense.
But they ran out, and then you just had a lot of people get turned away at the door and felt really bad, and so then it kind of goes against. I mean, it's like Kroger's is trying to
equitably distribute.
Exactly, and so yeah, I don't know.
But then chances gonna be lower to win.
Sure, but as long
if you went there, you should have a chance to win.
There's 2 scenarios, right? So it's either Kroger says, I'm gonna give the allocated to the 40 most diehard people, and then people who camp out. That's fine. That's perfectly all right. But what Kroger by the rules that Kroger set up, they didn't want people camping out. Maybe for legal reasons, maybe for like they don't want to exactly. They didn't want something to go down at night, and that's fine too. But if you're going to do that, then you just have to have enough lottery tickets to accommodate the crowd.
743. 743. 594. 594.
I didn't get called in the first 40, and I was about, call it 150 or 200 people back, but they had a ton of bottles, and I was actually shocked at how much was still left by the time I got there, and I was even more shocked that there were like 5 or 6 Coy Hills still on the table. Nobody was touching the Coy Hills. Nobody, interestingly, was also touching the Russell 15, and I was sorely tempted to get the Russell 15. However, I've seen a lot of reviews on it, and everyone loves it, but it's, for $250, I feel like it has to be spectacular. And I'm a huge Jack Daniel's fan. Not only do I like our rye pick we had with Bourbon Chronicles, but I love their bourbon, Tennessee whiskey. I pretty much like everything that they produce, and so it's been so high on my list to get a Coy Hill. It was not hazmat; it was 130 proof instead of the normal 140 proof, but I still wanted it, and that was the thing that really excited me. And I think one of the things that I've thought about when I'm buying bourbon, a lot of times I get, I'm trying to figure out, do I get this? What's a good value? Or, what do people like? And whenever I get into those situations, I think I just really go with my instinct and I ask myself a simple question. What excites me the most? What is the whiskey that I'm going to choose that I'm just waiting to go home to rip off and drink that night? And if there is something on there that, especially if it's very expensive and I'm on the fence of buying, and maybe I'm not that excited about actually opening the bottle, I'm just not gonna get it. And so out of all the bottles on the table left, this is the one that excited me the most. Now, by the time I got there, all the BTAC was gone. So I think for me personally, I would have taken George T. Stagg and William LaRue Weller over Coy Hill, but I would have chosen Coy Hill over Antique Eagle Rare, the Sazerac, and the Handy. All the Pappies were gone. I probably would have taken the Pappy 15 and Pappy 23 over the Coy Hill, but I would have taken the Coy Hill over all the other Pappies. And other than that, other than the BTAC and Pappy, I just can't imagine what people were picking, to have, so much left. But I'm trying to think back what was left. There was a lot of Rock Hill Farm. There might have been an Elmer T. Lee, maybe. There was a ton of Maker's Mark Cellar Age for $200. It seemed like nobody was touching those, and there was like at least, 20 bottles on the table. They probably even had more behind. Someone bought a Millennial, but I have a feeling that...
Well, I heard, you probably can't hear this in the microphone, but I heard it was marked down to $6K. What a steal!
What a steal! What a steal! So, the guy that walked out with the Millennial, the box Millennial, he was carrying another bottle. So my theory is that was not an allocated pick. He got an allocated pick. It was probably like a Pappy's or a BTAC, and then he dropped another $7,000 on Millennial.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah, my number was like the worst, and I was standing in line next to people that actually didn't even have a wristband. So I could have still been standing there and get us something lame. But what I'm thinking of, we book it, and we book it while everybody's distracted. All the bourbon hunters are distracted with the Kroger. Maybe we're gonna hit a party source or hit up one of these liquor barns, see what's possible, see what else is available.
So I've been looking for the Russell's Reserve LLME, and unfortunately, not here. When bottled in May of 2024 this year, are supposed to be really good. Rumored to be the reject Russell 15 barrels that were just dumped into the Russell's Reserve tank.
I'm gonna freeze frame right here. $800 for King Kentucky. It's not completely outlandish. I wasn't gonna buy it myself, but I sent a screenshot to a few friends. One of them drove all the way down to buy it, to only notice that this bottle is completely mislabeled and they actually wanted $2,000. Check this out. This is the first time I've seen it. It's a private selection, Gallenstein's pick. 10 years old and toasted and cask strength. Interesting.
Whoa! Holy shit!
All right, guys, I got to show you what Alex gave me. This little sample pack. I'm so lucky to have him as a friend, and he's so generous. And Alex, I swear to God, I'm gonna do some I won't let you down. I'm gonna do some content with this before drinking them all. Check this out. So these are the goats, the greatest of all times. So what do we have here? We got Garrison Brothers Cowboy Boar Bourbon, 140 proof. Pappy 15. Willet 11 year. And I think these are just the rest of just stags. 24A. All right, we got Old Forester single barrels, 4 of them. Old Forester single barrel rise. All right, here we go. Every single recipe of 4 roses in a single barrel form. But yeah, every single recipe. I definitely gotta somehow do a tournament where I figure out which 4 roses I like the most. 8 Russell Reserve single barrels. Oh man, you guys know I love Russells. 2 Buckner's 10s to compare, contrast. And finally, here we go. So these are MGP light whiskeys. And I know the name is deceiving because they're anything but light. I'm sure they're all 140 proof. He gave me back the sample that I gave him of my old Louisville 16, just a little bit left, to compare and contrast to Penelope, 15 year, 128 proof. What's this other one right here? So Jacob Parton, number 3 whiskey, 142.7 proof. Whew, pure fire. All right, guys. So didn't get too lucky with the Kroger raffle, but man, this set is amazing. Later.